buccaneer. How you on the ship, you ain't a buccaneer. 12 shots on me like a buccaneer. Diamonds on me shining cause a buccaneer. Big start, deep face, buccaneer. Feel go good with the buccaneer. Want me shoot the cannon like a buccaneer. Buccaneer, buccaneer, buccaneer. One eye patch like a buccaneer. How you on the ship, you ain't a buccaneer. 12 shots on me like a buccaneer. Diamonds on me shining cause a buccaneer. Big start, deep face, buccaneer.
Great morning, great morning. It's Monday, and you are mic'd up on Monday morning with yours truly, Michael Clayton, and today is going to be a blessed day. We're going to get our week started off right, in a positive direction, moving forward to build people up. I tell you guys all the time that, I just kind of wait for God to put in my spirit what I'm going to talk about. And on my drive over here, he gave me the title of today's message. I walked in the building, sat down with my producer, DJ A&A, and we got to talking. And she asked me about an update to Michael's mess. A few episodes ago, I was telling y'all about some of the things that I go through. And when we first started this show, our format was Michael's Mess, then Michael's Message, Michael's Guess. Those were the three, that was the formula of the show. And the past few episodes, we've kind of gotten away from that formula and just kind of given the light to our special guests and kind of just letting them share their testimony for the whole hour. And DJ A&A asked me a great question. He said, man, what's up with your daughter? I have a 19-year-old daughter, and a few episodes ago, I told you all about some of the mess that I was going through. So I wanted to start off today's show and give our listeners an update on what I was going through, kind of a backstory of what happened. And I got a crucial moment coming up. My sister is getting married on Saturday of this week, and all of my family is coming together. Now, I told y'all the story that my daughter is a freshman in college at LSU. She completed her first semester, and when it came to her second semester, I was prepared, but I really wasn't prepared to pay $20,000 a semester, okay? Now, I know that they have in-school tuition, and when I'm putting aside money for the kids, I'm thinking $7,000 to $10,000 a semester, but not 20. And so she kind of got disrespectful with me, and she was like, well, just cut the check. And I was like, wait a minute, pump your brakes, young lady. Wait a minute, just cut the check. And I tried to give her some insight on how it was, it was bigger than what she's just seeing. She remembers Daddy being this professional football player. She thinks, Daddy has always provided, and Daddy just got anything and everything I want. So just cut the check and quit playing with me is what her attitude was. So in that moment, I've always kind of given in because my oldest daughter is 19 years old. She wasn't raised in the home with my other 4 children and my wife. She lives in Houston. So every year it was just, a struggle to spend time with my daughter throughout the year. So I would get her for holidays and summers. And she's 19 years old now, and it's crazy, but this was her first Christmas that she was going to be spending with us. I never wanted to create a problem with her mother. If she wanted her only child to wake up on Christmas with her, I understood that as a father. I had kids in my home, so I know the importance. So I never wanted to take that away from her mom, so I never made it an issue. Looking back, I wish I would have been more demanding of that time, because I'm seeing now that time was very valuable that I just kind of gave away, kind of put me in the position that I am in today. And because of that she wasn't raised in the home, when she would do things that wasn't up to the standard that I expected of my kids, I would kind of just give her a different I let her live by a different standard. I wouldn't treat her the same way as I would treat my kids in the home. I would discipline my kids in the home, like crack the whip real hard. And, they knew Daddy wasn't playing, and they wouldn't do those things. But when my oldest daughter would come and kind of do the same things, talk back, be disrespectful, I would treat her a little different because I hadn't seen her in a long time, and I didn't want that small moment of time to be disrupted by discipline and her being angry with me. So that was just growing up, and time passed so quickly 1 year turns into 5 years, turns into 10 years. Then it's been her whole life. That's been her situation, and that's been our process. So fast forward to she's 19 years old. She's a little disrespectful with me. And for some reason, and I think it's because now she's a young lady, she's older, and I feel like, you know, she's her siblings look at her and look up to her, and they follow her. So I know now she's an influencer. And certain things that I used to do when she was young, I can't do anymore because my younger kids are getting older. They're 14 and 12, 2 and 3, and they're listening and learning from their older sister. So I got to kind of have a hands-on approach. So when she was disrespectful about her college tuition, I kind of just told her, listen, you know, you need to pump your brakes. I need to explain to you the full scenario of what's going on so that you kind of change your temper and you understand that I'm not taking money out of your college fund because I didn't really plan for that to have 5 kids. When I put that money away, I put it away for 2 kids, not 5 kids. So instead of me taking money out of her college fund to pay for her tuition, I went to work and I paid it out of my own pocket for her first semester. And I was going to do the same thing for her second semester. And I just, you know, $20,000. So I got, you know, I got to do a lot of work, you know, in a little bit of time to come up with that type of money. So I was trying to explain to her the process. And being 19, you needed to know when your tuition needed to be paid, how you needed to pay it, what classes you need to enroll. You needed to know all of that. And because I had help with people doing that for me. I was an athlete, so we had counselors and all that. I don't know if she's had that, but I felt that you need to know that. You need to take the initiative to know your responsibility as a young adult, 19, moving out on your own in college. She wasn't receptive to that word. She got disrespectful, so for some reason I said, I won't bend or break in this moment. I won't do what I've always done. I won't give in. I'm gonna be a firm father, and I'm gonna teach you how to respect the same person that you're leaning on to help you. So I pulled back and I told her, listen, as long as you're disrespectful, you know, you pretty much walking away from what I can help you with. And the next day she ended up leaving Florida. She got in an Uber and just left. She was supposed to spend her first Christmas with us. She just left out of nowhere. Siblings are crying. I'm surprised. I'm like, what's going on? And I tell her, listen, if you leave right now, if this is how you handle your situation, and I had just told her, we had talked about this, emotional. Don't make decisions when you're emotional, okay? When you're emotional, it's best just to just say, I need a 24-hour break, 48-hour break. I'm not making no decisions while I'm emotional because I've learned that when you're emotional, you make irrational decisions. We just had this conversation with my daughter. They were like, you know, they didn't receive that message well either because I'm telling them don't be emotional. And they like, I said, no, don't come to me with that emotional stuff. It's bad. And they took it as daddy don't want me to come to them. You know, these are young ladies, 14 and 19 years old. And I just completely dropped the ball on that conversation. I knew what I meant, but I probably said something that just was all the way wrong. And they jumped on my back. All right. They jumped down my throat. All right. And I'm telling her, listen, we got to do this a certain way. She ups and leaves, and I tell her, listen, if you leave, then you're going to have to figure your stuff out. If you hang in there with me and we figure this stuff out, I say you have nothing to worry about. I'm going to take care of all your needs. Anything that I will die for you, you my child, okay? But if you leave, then you're showing me your grown-up side. I'm going to let you go be grown. So that's what I did because with me, I'm a man of my word. And if I say it, then I mean it. And it was unfortunate that this was dealing with my daughter. At this time, my sister is getting married next week. So it was my family is really close. So it's just a big disruption to my family for us to be at odds. So she blocked me. She stopped talking to me, and I hadn't talked to her in probably since December. It's been a long time. Now, I've texted, you know, miss you, love you, praying for you, all of those things. We've talked DJ A&A about sending her a letter. And so I want to just start out the show, give y'all a little update of what's been going on the past few months. All right, so I haven't talked to my daughter in a long time, since December. Every day, it's like, as a father, you feel this pain every day. I'm having to communicate with my 19-year-old through my 14-year-old daughter. Like, how's Maddie doing? Have y'all talked? Is she okay? What's going on? Da 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 da. And it's been like that for a few months. So we are now in a situation where I'm going to, my sister's wedding. My daughter decided not to go to the wedding too. So she's kind of lashing out, and she's mad at Daddy, but she's taking everybody down. She want to hurt everybody in Daddy's family just because she's mad at Daddy. And I had to remember, I was 19 before, and I remember how I acted when I was 19. And so when I remind myself of how I was at 19, I'm able to be a better parent and not parent my child out of anger. So for this process from December till now, we're in March. Man, time is flying. Hadn't talked to my daughter, trying to pray, trying to figure out how I'm going to deal with this. My family is reaching out to me. You need to pay for her tuition. You need to do this. You just need to make it right. You need to, well, I always did that. I always just did it, just made it right, or just turned my back on foolishness and just ignored the bad stuff and just looked. I always did that. Well, I'm doing something different now. And it's caused this big disruption in my family. So after these months and months and months and months, I just decided that, I'm gonna go ahead, and I wanted her to come. I wanted us to make amends before God told me what to do. He said, he put in my heart that I'm gonna pay I gotta pay the tuition. All right, whatever she's gone through since December has been something that she was in control of, and I've been letting her sit in it. And right now I feel like she's sat in it long enough, and I wanted her to come and for us to make it right before I paid the tuition, because then in my mind is, now you want to talk to me because your tuition paid. Now our relationship is all about the money, which is something that she's always said too, out of anger. Well, you don't live in the house, all you do is provide money, because I pay child support all your. She's always said that now. And sometimes children have conversations with their other parent that ain't too beneficial in the relationship of the opposite parent. Be mindful of that, and sometimes, that when that's all you can do, that's all you can do. Okay, I can call, I can text, but when you live in Texas and I live in Florida, and that's the situation I brought you in, I can sulk and be mad and be miserable about it, or I can just accept it for what it is and do my very best, and that's what I've just decided to do. I understand it's not the perfect world, it's not the perfect situation. I understand that things are not always going to be peachy and cream, just like it is now. But one thing I've realized is, if you do your very best, when children mature, they'll understand everything. They'll understand everything. So I've just been able to kind of just decide, all right, I'm going to call the school. I'm going to pay them, the $20,000 in their tuition. I didn't know if I was going to write her a check, and we were talking about this. I don't know. So I don't know if I need to just write her a check and let her pay off her bills. I don't know if I need to call the school but I'm going to do it. And I just, and I'm kind of scared because I don't know what's going to happen after that. I don't know if she's going to come around. I don't know if that display of, I guess it's a display of love. Yes, it's me showing I still love you. Maybe she feels like Daddy doesn't love her anymore because I'm showing discipline. And sometimes discipline doesn't look like love, and it's important for us to always remind our kids that I'm doing this out of love because I love you. Because when they get older, they're gonna it's imperative for them to discipline in the same way. That you're not disciplined out of anger, but you're disciplined out of love, and they understand from when they're young why they're getting disciplined. All right. When we come back, listen, I got a great guest in with me today. Maurice Vernon and his wife, Elena, have joined me. And the title of today's message is Look Me in the Eyes, Hear My Voice, and Tell Me What You See. I've given y'all an update on Michael's mess. If you're listening, get ready to call in. Maybe you have some advice for me. But moving forward, I want you to meet my very special guest, and I'll tell you exactly why I titled the message of today, Look Me in the Eyes, Hear My Voice, and Tell Me What You See when we return.
Buccaneer. One eye patch like a buccaneer. How you on the ship, you ain't a buccaneer.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/hearfree.
Your favorite old school. Today's R&B. With a smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
Great morning, great morning. You are tuned in to Mondays with Michael Clayton, mic'd up on Monday morning with Michael Clayton. Today, listen, I gave you an update of Michael's mess. My daughter is going to get her tuition paid, but the relationship between her and I has not quite mended the way that I would like it to. Hopefully this coming week at the wedding, with my plans of writing her a letter so that she could read. I say that she's blocked me, so I can't communicate with her. Her mother has blocked me, so I can't communicate with her too. So that's just that's the situation that I'm dealing with. And I'm very mindful not to call those things childish or any kind of other negative word, because I don't want to be demeaning. And a lot of people would say, oh, that's just childish. Well, the reality is if you don't know the full backstory, then you probably need to keep your comments to yourself, because there are a lot of things that go on that people don't understand why people act the way they act. The last thing I'll say about my daughter is this. I can be mad all I want. I can be disappointed at my child for not carrying herself to the expectation that I expect her to. I can be mad all I want. The reality is this, and this is what I've learned in my teaching, that it is the responsibility of the parent to leave that seed. And if my child is not acting accordingly, I first must check what type of seed have I planted, and have I done enough farming, all right, nurturing that seed. So the reality is this. I have to take full responsibility for the way that my daughter is acting out. I have to be mindful of my discipline, because when I first disciplined her, I disciplined her based upon what she was doing. But when I really looked at it, I said, okay, there's a time and a place for me to discipline you what you're doing. Now I got to discipline myself for why she did what she did. Now I got to cut the check. Because how she's acting is a reflection of the seed that I planted. Maybe I didn't water that seed enough. Maybe I didn't plant that seed deep enough in the dirt. As a father, I got to take 100% responsibility for that. And because I'm a man of God, I feel that at the end of the day, we will have a victory. We will have a victory. That doesn't mean that I won't go through trials and tribulations, because I really feel that these trials and tribulations are meant for me and my family to be better. And we need these. But it's how we come out of these trials and tribulations that allow us to be better parents, allow our children to be better. Lead by good example. So I myself have to take full responsibility for how my child is acting and do better. So many times we just see our children out there in the streets and they knucklehead. They gonna go to prison. I don't want nothing to do with it. Well, have you been a parent? Have you done the things necessary to show your kids that you love them when they're away from you? Have you done the things that are necessary when they are doing something that they ain't got no business doing, that they're listening and hearing the voice of their parent? Have you spoken to them in love enough to where it lingers with them when they're away from you? I haven't. I have to do better, and I got to take full responsibility. All right, moving on. I hope you got something from that mess. That's Michael's mess. And now we're moving on to my special guest, Mr. Maurice Vernon and his wife, Elena, have joined me today. And the title of today's message is Look Me in the Eyes, Hear My Voice, and Tell Me What You See. And I want to tell y'all a quick story before I get into it with my guests of when my life changed and when I changed as a person. When I was drafted in 2004, I brought two of my best friends with me, Courtney Trask and Steve Williams. Steve Williams was a kid who grew up in the streets of South Baton Rouge and New Orleans, between South Baton Rouge and New Orleans, and his daddy was a kingpin. His daddy was the man in Baton Rouge, okay? Nobody wanted to mess with his daddy. And Steve was a very smart man. He knew things about real estate because his daddy was a hustler. Daddy had drug money, so his daddy was into real estate and buying buildings and doing all of these things. And, so he was seeing his daddy work a business and kind of, making the transition from street game to businessman. So he was brilliant. He was the valedictorian of his high school, but yet he was still a street dude. But he was incredibly smart. So I brought him with me because I thought that, man, my dude is too smart. He don't need to be in that environment. I'm drafted in the first round. I got money now. I can show my boy a different life, and we can utilize his smarts, and, we can benefit one another. So I brought him with me. Fast forward, 2 years, I went through some things in football, some bad moments, and I started drinking and I started partying, trying to find peace and joy and all of the things that could not give me peace and joy. And my friend was enjoying this lifestyle, and the people who were around me were enjoying my misery. They didn't see my misery because I had on a mask. I'm smiling. But on the inside, I'm crying and I'm dying. And when I go home, I'm crying on my bed asking God, please, God, forgive me. Lord, bring me peace. And I'm letting nobody see that side of me, them tears, crocodile tears crying. Nobody can see that. All they see is the blunt in my mouth. All they see is the cup to my lips. All they see is the smile on my face and the women around me. That's all they saw. So my friend wanted my lifestyle, and I influenced him about all of this life that he could enjoy, and he did something illegal to get that lifestyle. And it led to him committing suicide because he couldn't handle the repercussions of his actions. And so on that day, my life changed because I realized the influence that I had influenced my peers, my brothers, and how it had led down a road of destruction. So I made a commitment to myself that I would no longer let anyone that I meet see the me in me. Because even though people may look at Michael Clayton and say, man, he's a great dude, he's a good dude, man, always speaking positive, I know that the real me in me, that man, the flesh in me, will lead somebody astray. Because we all have our weak moments. We all have our moments, our normal moments, because we all human. We have our human moments. It's okay to be human. Walked in the office today, everybody talk about Kurt Franklin. I haven't even heard the content of what he said to his kid, but all I know, and he's apologizing for being human. Wait a minute. I need to listen to the conversation, but I'm saying it's okay to be human. You got to understand that nobody is perfect and that the human, the flesh, will lead people astray. But there is somebody on the inside. There's something on the inside that can influence people down the right path. And many different people have different words for that. All right. All right. And I understand that. And but to me it's all the same. To me it's all the same. And and eventually what we get is, we want to get to the core of that person that can influence people down the right path and get full understanding that the flesh in us can lead people down the wrong path. So I made it a point in my life to say everybody that I meet, even if I'm at the grocery store saying goodbye to the cashier lady, I'm going to say, have a blessed day. You're going to see the God in me. Every time you hear me on a microphone, most times if you see me on TV, if I get an opportunity, you're going to see the God in me. Matter of fact, you're going to see the God in me even if I don't mention God. You're going to see the God in me. I made a point after my friend committed suicide because I knew that the me in me could lead people astray. And when you're called to bring people to the light, not to destruction. So I had to do a little self-check. And so the reason why I titled today's message is Look Me in the Eyes, Hear My Voice, and Tell Me What You See, because on that day, my life changed. And I believe that everybody who came in contact with me after that day has seen a new Michael Clayton. Now, the same people who used to see me in the clubs are the same people who call me and hit me, man, Mike, I ain't seen you in 10 years. Oh, I know. I know. And you might not ever see me again. Not there. And I just may take my wife out. And I'm okay with that, taking my wife out on a day on the town. But you're not going to see me in them spots every weekend, every Sunday at the Blue Martini religiously. Every Monday we at somewhere. We was somewhere every day of the week. The only day we wasn't out somewhere was Tuesday. And that's because we had the day off. But every other day, we were Wild Out Wednesday, Throw Down Thursday, Freaky Friday. Every day had a title. Then we had to live up to the title. I remember them days, but I'm not that man no more. And you won't see me in them places no more. All right? And you see a new me. And you hear a new me. And the person that you see and the person that you hear, that's the real me. And I was on social media, and I began to listen to this brother talk. And I would see the real him. And I say, wow, man, people may think this dude crazy. This dude is doing some extraordinary thing. Extra. He going extra. Extraordinary. Extra. And sometimes in our culture, if you're doing something extra, people say, man, you crazy. You crazy. So I wanted to make sure I've been trying to get him on for probably about a month now. And we finally was able to make it happen. And I want to introduce y'all to both Maurice and Elena Vernon. Thank y'all for joining me today. Super Dad, a.k.a. Maurice Vernon, a.k.a. Super Dad. Tell us a little bit about, first of all, your outfit, all right, what you stand for, and, coming on with me today.
Well, first, I want to say thank you for having us. I want to say thank you, Michael, for your transparency. Thank you for your transparency. Men got to be transparent. I believe strong men follow strong men.
Yeah.
And for you to be that open, bro, you brought tears to my eyes just listening to you. And I really believe you got to keep that going. You got to keep that going.
Absolutely.
I want my wife to tell you about the suit because God gave her the vision for this suit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, before I tell you about the suit, I do need to say something about the situation with your daughter because I have been the daughter that lives outside the home. So you kind of speak into an older. Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I want to say thank you for being bold enough to hear God on that situation that, hey, it's time to cut the check.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And you're like, God, how do I do this? What's the right way to do it? The right way is through love. You absolutely doing it. So first of all, I want to commend you on that. And I want to say that even though being outside the home, not really having that relationship with your dad that you see your siblings having with them, it can still be special.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? It can
Yeah.
still be special. And it's not too late either.
Right.
That's the thing. Like, you 19 years into this, what's the next 19 going to look
Right.
like, you
That's
know?
right.
And so, you know, it was just on my spirit to tell you that you need to go date your daughter.
Yeah. I've been
You
feeling
said,
that.
You said, what's the best way to bring that in person?
Yeah.
In person.
Yeah. That's why I've been waiting.
Mhm.
I said, well, go to the wedding.
Yeah.
I got to go to Louisiana. I'm going to bring it in person.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it in person.
Like
I've been feeling that too.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be, and this is the thing. Don't make it expensive. Make it meaningful.
Yeah.
Promposal, balloons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just
Right.
meaningful.
That's right.
She wants your time. She wants your attention. That's why she sat there and hadn't talked to you till you makes it impossible for you to reach her unless you're just in person.
Right.
Yeah, it's an opportunity,
then
and
just
I'm
to
excited
add-
for you.
Just to add to that, it's not the always tell fathers. It's not the quantity of time.
Yeah.
It's the quality.
Absolutely.
Don't ever forget that.
Absolutely.
It's the quality.
Yeah.
And I remember that.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Because it's not just about your money. Kids can care less about money.
Mhm.
They want your time.
Yeah.
They want your heart. They want you.
Yeah.
And that's what I always tell dads. I don't care if you work all the time. When you with your kids, be there 100%. Because we got present dads, but we need active fathers.
Yep.
See, a present dad, he sit there, watch football, drink beer. The kids go to the room. He present.
Yep.
He's no different than a dad that don't show up.
That's right. That's right.
And what God need today is active fathers. What the schools are crying out is active parents. You talk about co-parent. It's a co-parenting epidemic in America that need to change. We ain't got no classes. We don't have no education on co-parenting. And we just out in the open just co-parenting off the top of our heads.
Yeah.
And
Getting
we
it
need
all
courses. Come on, man. And it's not easy. It's not easy co-parenting. It's not easy you having to swallow that when the mom don't treat you right or the dad don't treat mom right. That's not easy stuff.
That's it.
I mean, you got 5 kids. We got 5 kids. Isn't that amazing?
Yes, indeed. And when we come back, we're going to get into all the 5-kid drama, the married drama, and what it takes to be a great dad and seeing the person who you really are. Y'all stay tuned. You're mic'd up on Monday mornings with yours truly, Michael Clayton. We'll be right back.
Buccaneer. One eye patch like a Buccaneer. How you gonna ship you in a Buccaneer?
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure. So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm gonna do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in the bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency. Who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
Thinking politics? Tampa Bay Politics is on every Wednesday at 11 a.m. with Angela Birdsong. Tune in right here on In Touch Radio.
Great morning, great morning. Thank you all for staying tuned in to Mic'd Up on Monday mornings with yours truly, Michael Clayton. And we are joined by 2 very special guests of mine today, Mr. Maurice Vernon and Elena Vernon. And today, the titles of today's messages, Look Me in the Eyes, Hear My Voice, and Tell Me What You See. And today, to all of our listeners, what I want you to be focused on is our guests. I want you to look them in their eyes. I want you to hear their voice. And I want you to see the people, all right, that you're listening to. I believe that we live in a world where we have to lean on each other. We have to pretty much be each other's keepers. Okay, we can't rely on government. We can't rely on, all of these things. If we can rely on our brother that's next to us, our neighbor, then we can get things accomplished quicker, better. We will be stronger as a community. And it has to start somewhere. So when I created this platform and when I was pushed by DJ CEO, all right, in Tampa Bay Tammy to start this podcast, I wanted to make it visible so that people can be introduced to influencers and difference makers in our community. And the people to my right, your left, if you're watching the screen, are two people who are definitely doing that. So, Elena, kind of get us right into the Super Dad suit. When I hear Maurice on social media, it's usually you're ministering. But there's many different facets of your life that, man, people might not be in tune to. And that one facet is something that you are every day. Every single day, to the tune of 5 kids, just like me. So I want to hear first and foremost about what gave you the concept, how'd you get the suit, and then we'll get into some of our Super Dad stuff.
Yeah,
Elena?
yeah. Well, he's actually wearing the original suit. We have some more updated versions, but sometimes you do have to take it back old school. And really, we started this charity because this started coming together even before we met, right? I mean, we had both visions of what we wanted to do with our lives and the people we wanted to impact. And I just remember us planning over, I think it was our second or third date at IHOP and just talking and dreaming. And we had this opportunity, or we took this opportunity, I don't want to say it was presented because it wasn't, to start a charity. We did that in 2016, right after we had our first child together. And, it was at that point that I realized that, what he does and what he stands for, we might be used to it because we see him every day. We see him, playing with the baby and doing skin to skin and learning the benefits about breastfeeding and baby wearing and, learning how to properly hold the head and burp them. And
wait a minute, Maurice. It's okay for men to do that?
Yeah, men should change diapers. They should do it all.
It's your responsibility.
It's not 100% on the woman. That. I mean, we got to cut that out. It's a new nature of fathers being developed that change diapers. I mean, it's 50-50. Well, really, it's not 50-50. It's 100-100. Right. I apologize.
Absolutely.
And we got to, it's just we got to change the narrative that mom does everything, and that's not true.
Right.
I'm a stay-at-home dad. I get it in. I cook for the kids. I do it all. Right. I mean, I'm proud of it, and I make a difference. I mean, our household, it runs.
Absolutely. And I also noticed that there aren't too many, dad role models. Like we did have, Cliff Huxtable, but now even that has tarnish on it, Right. And I'm like, okay, you have to be a superhero. And this was before Black Panther and oh man, we were so excited about Black Panther, but this was before he became a household name. I said, you know what? I'm gonna make you a superhero. And he was like, how are you gonna do that? And I said, well, I got this idea. It involves tights. And he was like, I'm 6'4". Wow. I am not wearing blue tights. And I was like, that's okay. I already ordered it.
So we can see the power of the woman. Yeah. I'm 6'4". I'm not wearing no tights. Look at this big 6'4" man sitting here in tights. Sitting here in tights.
Confidently.
Yeah, confidently.
Listen, and it's become such a symbol. It's become a symbol to the people that we serve. In our charity, we've given away food and clothing and diapers and you name it, furniture, right. We've done it. But, time and time again, they come for the heart and for the people will.
We'll tell them about Chicago.
Man, I mean, we'll tell them about Chicago.
We were in Chicago and I had a speaking engagement in Chicago. And a lady came up to my wife. She said, I need to talk to Super Dad. And I'm like, okay, So she comes, she starts speaking. She said, hey, Super Dad, I'm in my 40s. I'm having a baby, but we was thinking about aborting it. But I thought I need to talk to Super Dad. And now she's keeping the baby.
Oh, man.
You know, but that gave me so much purpose.
Right.
You know, so when I suit up, I think about all the encounters that I have with so many parents. I get that call at 3 a.m. My wife died. How do I become a father? I didn't pay attention.
Yeah.
I get those calls.
Right.
You know, so to me, it's like,
you know, starting over. We're having we have
yeah.
teenagers.
I mean, he's crying. The dad's crying on the phone. You know,
yeah.
And he's like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, man, listen, you had kids before. You know how to do this.
Yeah.
And then I just take them through the steps. I'm like, listen, you did this before. Calm down. It's okay. Right.
And as long as you have love, you can do it.
Right.
One
and
of the
support system too.
Absolutely.
That's important.
Absolutely. And as men, you know, we can't take advantage of our support system now. All right. I was just mentioning when my daughter was born, when I was 19, you know, I kind of told my parents, hey, you know, my girlfriend is pregnant, and, you know, they were upset. You done messed up your life. You know, you're going to ruin your career. They said those things because they were disappointed and angry, not because they didn't love me. My parents loved me my whole life, have always been there for me. And out of anger, I took my kid away and was like, well, I don't need y'all. So I never asked my parents for $1. I never asked my parents to keep my child. So here I am, 19 years old, on a college campus 3 days out of the week and every other weekend with no help, all right, not utilizing my support system, struggling, learning how to be a parent, fixing 12 bottles in the morning when I get up so I can have a bottle all day, you know, making
Hold
sure.
on, how many bottles you say you fix in the morning?
12.
Ooh.
Well, when they babies, when they babies, because they feed every 2-3 hours.
Right.
Every 2-3 hours. I remember this.
Yeah.
That's a super dad right now.
I was 19 years old. Listen, I did it. I did it every day. Every day. I wake up in the morning, put the bottles in the warmer. You know, had to do all of these things. Had to go to the grocery store and get the WIC and get the 32 cans of milk. I did all of that with no help. But I'm saying it was tough. It was really tough. Thursday night class, I had my baby in the car seat, had to get a schedule right so she could be drinking a bottle while I'm in a 3-hour class and she go to sleep and won't be disruptive. I had to do all of this at 19.
Wow.
It was tough, though. And I wish I had somebody, because I got married. I got married at 25 years old because of that. I wanted a family, and it was so tough and miserable for me. Not miserable. I love taking care of my kid, but when you're young and
when you're doing it on your own, it is miserable.
It is
because it's supposed to be
Is it okay to say that? I didn't want it to sound bad, but yeah, that was I was miserable.
No, it's a village process.
I was miserable. Let me explain my misery. I was miserable because I let my pride take over. I wasn't miserable for taking care of my child because I had help. I was miserable because I was too prideful to ask for help and too stubborn. I wanted to make my parents suffer, okay? So in turn, and wanted to make my parents suffer, I was suffering. So literally, I made myself miserable by my decisions. Is when a mature man, when I look back and I say, okay, no, I did that. I wasn't miserable. I was miserable not for taking care of my child, but because of what I was doing to my parents. But I wish I would have had some lessons to teach me how to kind of make that process easier. But it was good to learn it. And now, like, my wife can go. She could go for 3 days. And I got a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. And we good. We good. I know the schedule. I know how to handle these babies. I know how to put them down. I know how to I know how to love on them. I know how to play. I know how to picnic. I know how to do on snack and travel and car seats. We good.
I got a question for you, Mike.
Go
Is
ahead.
the way that you handle things the same as your wife?
Absolutely not.
All right.
Absolutely not. And we struggle. We struggle, and that has somewhat created a problem because my wife is very strong-willed and she wants the kids on a schedule and she's very rigid and they got to eat this and eat that. When I'm more like, here's a gummy. Daddy, I want a gummy. Well, here's another one. You're not getting no more gummies. Don't ask me another. Daddy, give me a gummy. Here's one more pack of gummies. Don't you ask me. So I just make sure I don't get the sugar gummies. I just get the sugar-free gummies that ain't as detrimental for the intake. They're more like vitamins, and it's more like I'm pumping you with medicine, good stuff. But my wife won't do that, So yeah, we have a more, and it works. it works for me. Sometimes it probably don't work for them. Work for her because it kind of mess up her schedule.
Well, you got your own toolbox, and that's your toolbox, and you got to celebrate your toolbox.
Absolutely. I have the know-how. It's know-how enough where my wife knows that it ain't the same, but she does know that it's good enough. So she's not worried when Daddy got the babies. You know, she's not worried at all. All right, we pushing through. We pushing through. All right, y'all stay tuned, man. We got one more segment. We're going to wrap this thing up. We're going to dive a little bit deeper. All right, look me in the eyes. Hear my voice. Tell me what you see when we return.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan. We were able to get in touch with each other in no time. The whole experience was fine. If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
It's Madam CJ, and I want you to listen to Trap Talk Radio at 8 p.m. every Thursday right here on In Touch News, www.intouchnews.com. Madam CJ, and I want you to listen to Trap Talk Radio at 8 p.m. every Thursday right here on In Touch News, www.intouchnews.com. Madam CJ, and I want you to listen to Trap Talk Radio at 8 p.m. every Thursday right here on In Touch News, www.intouchnews.com.
Tiger will get it clean. Are we back on? We are back on. You got me embarrassing myself. All right, good. That's it. I'm in my uniform. Y'all know it's Monday, and just because we take the time out of our day to inspire and encourage our community does not mean it's not a work day. Because soon as we put this episode in the books, Mr. Clayton is getting back to work. All right, let's get into it because, we're going to take this last segment to really talk about, get into the heart of who you are and what you're doing as a family. And you got a big event coming up on March 24th. Mm-hmm. And the ask is for 24 million people worldwide. We got big dreams. We're doing big things. And it starts right here in the city of Tampa Bay. And we need you. We need all of our listeners. We need everybody to get on board. If you know a father who has had some type of problems being present in the home, this is an event that they can be tied to get education so that we can heal our nation, being better fathers. Talk to us a little bit about what's coming up, Maurice, on the 24th.
So on March 24, we have our 24 million March for Dads, and this 24M March for Dads, and that's so important. And we're not just talking about fathers. We're talking about anybody who believe in fatherhood. We need you to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, this is when you go from city to city. I've traveled all over talking to families, me and my wife together, strengthening fathers, strengthening families. It's the same problems all over the country. Mm-hmm. It's just it got a different flavor on it.
Right.
Like, every environment is different, and we need to change this. I mean, this is something that's not talked about. You don't hear it that much, but the biggest problem we have is fatherless households, mm-hmm. and it's affecting us. There are statistics that shows the government knows because of the absent father, the statistics are there. And if the father shows up, it changes all the dynamics.
Yeah.
And, fatherlessness sticks with you. Maurice has talked to 70+ 90-plus-year-old woman who was talking about how when her parents divorced and her dad felt like he was no longer, an ornament in her life, that it impacts her. And her dad is long gone. So we know that this is something that we need to heal our nation.
Yeah.
Like there's different situations. Every family looks different, but the message needs to stand that we are greater than this mess that we've made. That America is greater, fathers are greater, mothers are greater, and because we can come together, support each other, be co-parents, be parents, even when we disagree, that we can make our kids greater too.
And we have incarcerated fathers. Mm-hmm. Those are absent fathers. Don't get to spend time with their kids.
Right.
I mean. It's a need. It's a great need.
And this is a virtual walk.
This is a virtual.
24 million people is the ask. Mm-hmm. A virtual walk worldwide. It starts right here in Tampa. Getting your support, sharing. Where can we find the information or the flyer to virtually send it out on our social media pages? How do we support the mission to be on the same page on the 24th of March?
Well, the event is live on Facebook. You can find it under 24M March 4 Dads,
right.
The number 4.
The
dads.
number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You can find us on at JTEP Charity. That's JTEP, joining together, eliminating poverty charity. There
I like it. JTEP. Say that again.
JTEP.
Okay.
Charity.
JTEP.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
JTEP Charity. That's on Instagram. That's on Facebook. I think we even have a Twitter. We need to dust off that Twitter.
Yeah, you got to get your social media.
Yeah. But
these days.
so for the 24th, it'll be the start to it. Since we're doing virtually, we're doing it a little bit different. We're giving everybody a week to try to get as many miles as they can get in there. I really want some competitiveness.
Yeah.
I want to see, I'm going to do more miles than my kids. I might do more than my husband. I'm just doing miles for dads. That's what I'm doing. And we want people to post. We want people to post. We want people to hashtag March 4 Dads, the number 4. And tag us and show us your support for dads, because you really never know who. Social media is so powerful. You never really know who just found out that they're gonna be a dad, or what woman just found out she's pregnant and already sees the animosity and the change, the shift in the relationship. I know y'all know what I'm talking about.
That's right.
That shift that happens because you don't know what's going to happen next.
That's right.
You don't know what's going to be birthed when that child comes. So. Your support can really mean the difference for someone else. They can say, this might be somebody I can come to for support. And of course, we're here. Super Dad, he teaches new dad boot camps. He is ready to do that. That's online. So, hit us up, get connected through this event, and you can do that as well. We're just all about growing together, growing stronger communities, stronger families, stronger fathers, stronger mothers, stronger kids.
Yeah. Now, these things are very important, simply because, I had a baby at 19 years old, and usually that's when we see the displaced father when we have kids at such a young age. And when you're young, it's so easy to flee. It's so easy to deny. And what I really feel is this family has created a scenario where we can empower and we can kind of put a value, a better value on being a father to young people. And this is something that we need everybody's support. So it doesn't matter how many miles you walk. So no one should be discouraged about, joining in on the fun. If you just walk out your neighborhood and walk down the street, and post.
Before you know it, it's a mile.
A mile. Before you know, you walk down to the corner and back.
Track it.
All right.
And even if you can't walk, just give us a picture and
give
hashtag.
Do something. Do something. If you're a father out there who loves being a father, if you're a father out there, one thing that breaks my heart is when I meet kids, or I meet so many kids that don't have the fathers in their home.
Absolutely.
And that's why kids are my passion, because the only reason why I made it is because of my father, who was there present. We talked about being present in the home. My daddy, and the quality of your time. My daddy worked 16-hour shifts growing up. I only saw him coming in to work, going to work, and sleeping. That's it. But when my daddy came home, I remember him laying in his bed and him calling me, Michael, you shot basketball today? No, sir. 10 o'clock at night. No, sir. Well, come on. I'm going to lay in the bed. I'm going to watch you from my window if you want to go out there in the courtyard, because we had a little courtyard, and he had a slide glass window right there. I could see him in his bed, and he'll cut on his lamp, and he'll watch me in the courtyard, and I just sit out there for hours. And I ain't care if I missed every shot. I'll look to my right, and I see my daddy with his eyes open looking at me.
Mike, let's talk about how important it is for your dad to, for a child to see their dad active.
My daddy never missed a game. My daddy never missed a game. He worked 16-hour shifts. My daddy was going to be in the game. Mm-hmm. So I remember, and I say that because I remember the 2 games my daddy missed. Mm-hmm. I remember how I felt. I remember I had to ball out because I wanted to bring back the memory, because every time my daddy and my mama was in the stands, I'm a ball out. Mm-hmm. I could hear 100,000 people in the stands. I could hear my mama scream. Ah! That's my mama voice. It's so important. That's why, I left television, because I couldn't take my kids to school because of their schedule. So I decided to leave the networks and create my own television show so that I can control my schedule, so that I can bring my kids to school and I can pick them up and I can be present for their extracurricular activities. Mm-hmm. And I can work and I do a lot of hustling, mm-hmm. but the main hustle is being a present father. Right. It's so important. The same thing my daddy gave me, mm-hmm. I have to give to my kids. I gotta be there. I gotta be there. I'm in tears if I miss a game. Mm-hmm. And I said miss a game. Well, it's either one of us. If I can't be there, we got 5 kids, Mm-hmm. I got a babies. Well, mama got to be there. If one of us is there, then we both there, mm-hmm. But I remember how special that meant for me to have my daddy watching me, for my daddy to be at them games. Mm-hmm. It's everything. Yeah. It's everything. I would fly home when I was working, and I would rush to see the last 2 minutes of the game, of my son's soccer game when he was little, just because I knew it meant something. Yep. Just to be there. You ain't got to be there for the whole game. Just
mm-hmm.
be there.
And you don't have to be perfect. That's also right. That's it too. Like, we got 5 kids. It's logistically very difficult to be in 5 places at one time, even between the 2 of us. And, I'll never forget, our son being like, I know daddy would be here if he could. So I know wherever he is he has to important. Be there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely. And that means something. When your 5-year-old says that, he was 5 or 6.
That's a reflection of the seeds that you've planted.
You got it.
And Mike, I want to add to what you said, because my biological dad was never there. So I don't even know what that feels like. Right. But my kids, they're going to know what it feels like.
You can change the narrative. Kids. We have the power to change the narrative. Just because you didn't have a father in your home, don't let that be the generational curse that lives on in your family. Mm-hmm. Break it. Mm-hmm. I wrote a chapter in my book specifically, Chasing My Rookie Year, available on Amazon. I wrote a chapter in my book called Breaking the Generational Curse. All right, and it is a generational curse because it is a norm in our society now. Yep. For fathers to be away from the kids and out of the home. Mm-hmm. Listen, I just want to thank y'all. As I just listened to y'all speak, there are so many more things. Hours, not enough time. Mm-hmm. I would love to sit down, me and my wife and you and Elena, and we can talk relationships. Every relationship has problems. How do you get through those problems? You can be the most powerful man of God, okay? But the enemy is going to find a way to create some type of friction and animosity that you're going to have to battle through. I would love to sit down and get some insight of how you guys deal with that, managing 5 kids, get your backstory. And just kind of, go back and forth, tit for tat, because, me and my wife's a doctor. She's very busy. She's a very hands-on parent too. And we go through our things. And I know that we can learn from other couples, but we will never be able to do that if we don't put ourselves in that situation. So maybe if it's possible, we can kind of set that scenario up for
Yes,
our
sir.
listeners. Put that on an episode so we can put that in the airways so people can learn from two
And
married
Mike,
couples.
let me
man.
say something, because you said the number one ingredients is prayer.
Absolutely.
And you said that early dealing with your daughter.
Yeah.
Man, without prayer, man, you got 5 kids, you going to pray. You got 1 kid that'll make you pray.
They bring you to your knees.
Absolutely. It's important. The one thing that I didn't see, like when I growing up, my daddy was everything to me. My daddy never prayed. My mama was that spiritual leader. Now, my daddy was a Christian, man. He believed in God, but he always delegated them responsibilities to my mother. I never forget, I was drunk at 15 one time. My dad, I know, I told you I was bad, and I'm going to tell y'all how bad I was bad. I was bad, y'all. My daddy came and got me. I'm drunk in the garage, in my own garage, while my parents home. My daddy came and got me and pulled me in the room and say, Margie, pray for this boy. That's what he said. He calling the whole family. He calling all the kids. Everybody in this room right now, we praying for Michael. I'm telling you. Hey, we're going to sit down. Thank y'all for the fun don't stop. Hey, I can't wait till next Monday. Actually, next Monday, I got to take another break. I'm going to be out of town. My sister's getting married, so we might have to. 2 Mondays from now, we're going to try to set something up where we have something very special. Remember the 24th of March, 24 million people is the ask. Everybody here in Tampa, get on board. Let's make this go viral throughout the world. Thank you both, Elena and Maurice, for joining me today. And we will see y'all every single Monday, 10 o'clock sharp. You're mic'd up on Monday morning with yours truly, Michael Clayton. We will see you next week.